Can Idris Elba be the James Bond we've been waiting for? For years, few casting rumors have generated as much discussion as the possibility of Idris Elba becoming James Bond. Every time the future of the franchise is mentioned, his name resurfaces. Fans debate it endlessly across social media, entertainment websites, podcasts, and movie forums. Some see him as the perfect evolution of the character, while others believe Bond should remain closer to his traditional image. The reason this conversation refuses to disappear is simple. James Bond is not just another movie character. He is one of the most recognizable fictional figures in entertainment history. Since his debut, Bond has become a global icon representing style, intelligence, confidence, danger, and sophistication. Whoever plays Bond inherits a role that carries decades of expectations. That is precisely why the idea of Idris Elba stepping into the tuxedo remains so fascinating. This discussion is about much more than casting. It is about the future of a franchise that has constantly reinvented itself while trying to maintain its identity. It is about what audiences expect from heroes in the modern era. It is about whether iconic characters can evolve while remaining true to their roots. To understand why Idris Elba has become such a popular candidate, it helps to understand what makes James Bond unique. Unlike many fictional characters, Bond changes faces regularly. The role has been portrayed by multiple actors across generations. Each actor brought something different. Some emphasized charm, others focused on action. Some leaned into humor, while others highlighted the darker aspects of espionage. Despite these differences, audiences continued to recognize the character. That fact alone demonstrates something important. Bond has never been defined solely by appearance. Instead, he is defined by a collection of characteristics. He is confident under pressure. He is resourceful. He is intelligent. He is capable of navigating danger with remarkable composure. These traits form the foundation of the character. When supporters of Idris Elba discuss his suitability for the role, they often point to these qualities. They argue that he possesses every essential ingredient necessary to portray Bond convincingly. The first thing people mention is charisma. Charisma cannot be taught. It cannot be created through costumes, visual effects, or clever writing. Some performers naturally command attention whenever they appear on screen. Idris Elba belongs to that category. Throughout his career, he has consistently demonstrated an ability to dominate scenes without appearing forced. Whether portraying heroes, anti-heroes, detectives, gangsters, or military leaders, he projects confidence and authority. That quality is vital for Bond. James Bond walks into rooms filled with powerful individuals and immediately becomes the most interesting person present. Audiences must believe that villains view him as a threat. Allies trust him. Strangers notice him. Few actors possess that level of screen presence. Another important factor is versatility. Bond is a surprisingly complex character. While many people focus on action sequences, the role requires much more than physical performance. Bond must be witty, emotionally controlled, intelligent, charming, intimidating, and occasionally vulnerable. Idris Elba has repeatedly demonstrated these abilities throughout his career. He can portray strength without sacrificing emotional depth. He can communicate determination through subtle expressions rather than exaggerated performances. He understands how to create characters who feel both larger than life and completely believable. This balance would serve Bond well. One common criticism involves age. Many discussions surrounding Idris Elba's candidacy eventually focus on whether he would be too old to begin a long-term franchise commitment. Modern studios often prefer younger actors capable of remaining in a role for multiple films over many years. While this concern is understandable, it also overlooks potential advantages. A more experienced Bond could offer storytelling opportunities rarely explored within the franchise. Rather than introducing a young and inexperienced agent, filmmakers could present a seasoned professional carrying years of knowledge and emotional baggage. Such an approach could create a fascinating version of Bond. Instead of learning the job, this Bond would already understand its consequences. He would possess scars, regrets, victories, and memories accumulated through years of dangerous missions. That perspective could add depth to the character. Physicality is another reason many fans support Elba's casting. Bond has always been an action hero. Whether engaging in hand-to-hand combat, surviving dangerous chases, or confronting heavily armed enemies, he must appear physically capable. Idris Elba possesses a commanding presence that naturally supports this requirement. His height, build, confidence, and athleticism contribute to an image of strength. More importantly, he carries himself like someone capable of handling extreme situations. This quality matters because audiences instinctively evaluate whether an actor appears believable in demanding action scenarios. Elba passes that test comfortably. Supporters also point to his voice. Bond's dialogue often depends on confidence and authority. The character delivers memorable one-liners, persuasive conversations, and tense confrontations. A distinctive voice enhances these moments. Elba's voice possesses warmth, strength, and gravitas. It captures attention immediately. Whether speaking softly or forcefully, he communicates confidence. These characteristics align naturally with Bond's personality. The debate becomes even more interesting when cultural considerations enter the discussion. For decades, Bond reflected the era in which each film was produced. The character evolved alongside society. Technology changed. Villains changed. Storytelling styles changed. Bond changed too. Supporters argue that continuing this tradition means allowing the character to evolve in ways that reflect contemporary audiences. They believe that Bond's defining qualities transcend physical appearance. Courage, intelligence, determination, sophistication, and resilience are universal traits. According to this perspective, a talented performer should be evaluated primarily on their ability to embody these characteristics. Opponents often respond by emphasizing tradition. They argue that Bond originated as a specific literary character, with a well-established identity. Altering that image, they contend, risks disconnecting the franchise from its foundations. This concern is not necessarily rooted in hostility. Many fans simply value continuity and historical consistency. Their perspective highlights an important challenge facing any long-running franchise. How much change is too much change? The Bond franchise has confronted this question repeatedly throughout its history. Every new actor generates skepticism. When a new Bond is announced, some fans worry that the actor lacks the necessary qualities. Others question whether the franchise is moving in the right direction. Yet history demonstrates that audiences often embrace changes they initially resisted. What seems controversial today can become widely accepted tomorrow. That pattern helps explain why discussions about Idris Elba remain so persistent. Many observers believe that resistance to change often fades once audiences witness a strong performance. Another factor contributing to Elba's popularity is credibility. Certain actors feel believable in roles involving leadership and competence. When audiences watch Idris Elba perform, they rarely question whether his character belongs in positions of responsibility. He naturally projects capability. This quality is essential for Bond. Viewers must trust that Bond can solve problems, overcome obstacles, and survive impossible situations. Without credibility, the character falls apart. Elba possesses that credibility in abundance. Supporters frequently highlight his performances in crime dramas, action films, and thrillers as evidence. Across different genres, he consistently portrays individuals who remain calm under pressure. That composure mirrors one of Bond's most recognizable traits. Even when surrounded by danger, Bond rarely appears rattled. Maintaining that balance requires considerable acting skill. Too much confidence can become arrogance. Too little confidence undermines the character. The best Bond performances occupy a narrow space between those extremes. Idris Elba's work suggests he understands that balance exceptionally well. Another reason many viewers support the idea is freshness. Long-running franchises face a constant challenge remaining relevant without abandoning their identity. Audiences crave familiarity, but they also desire novelty. Finding that balance becomes increasingly difficult as franchises age. A casting decision involving Idris Elba would immediately generate excitement, because it would signal a willingness to explore new possibilities, while preserving Bond's essential qualities. The result could attract both existing fans and newcomers. New audiences often discover franchises through major changes. A fresh interpretation creates curiosity. People who previously ignored Bond films might become interested simply because they want to see a different approach. From a business perspective, this possibility is significant. The entertainment industry depends on attracting future generations of viewers. Any decision capable of expanding audience interest deserves serious consideration. Of course, casting alone cannot guarantee success. A Bond film ultimately depends on writing, directing, action sequences, supporting performances, and overall execution. Even the perfect actor cannot overcome weak storytelling. However, casting establishes the foundation upon which everything else is built. That is why discussions surrounding Bond actors remain so important. The chosen performer shapes audience expectations from the beginning. Few candidates inspire as much confidence as Idris Elba. Even individuals who oppose the idea often acknowledge his talent. Disagreements typically focus on interpretation rather than ability. That distinction is important. The debate rarely centers on whether Elba is a capable actor. Instead, it revolves around differing opinions regarding what Bond should represent moving forward. As cinema continues evolving, these conversations will likely become more common. Iconic characters increasingly exist within a global cultural landscape shaped by diverse audiences and changing expectations. Franchises must determine how to honor history while embracing the future. James Bond is no exception. Whether Idris Elba ultimately becomes Bond is almost secondary to what the discussion reveals. The conversation demonstrates that audiences remain deeply invested in the character. People care about Bond because he represents more than entertainment. He symbolizes tradition, aspiration, adventure, and reinvention. And perhaps that is why the idea of Idris Elba as Bond remains so compelling. He embodies many qualities audiences associate with the character, while also representing the possibility of evolution. For supporters, that combination is powerful. For critics, it raises important questions. For everyone else, it creates one of the most fascinating casting debates in modern film history. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.